Hey, I'm Brent Frazee, the outdoors editor for the Kansas City Star. The subject today is, when did I become a fisherman? I remember it vividly. My dad took me to Canada when I was about 8. And at the time, I was one of those impatient little kids who would rather skip rocks at my grandpa's bobbers than actually go out fishing. But he took me up to a place perfectly named lake called Lake Despair in Ontario. And we went up there, and the first night we were going to meet up with a guide. The next morning, we got up there early. My dad took a boat and just rowed us around. And my goodness, we caught the northern pike. I mean, we caught northern pike that were, to a little kid, seemingly looked as big as I was. They'd come up and hit our daredevil spoons and just fly into the air. Well, we got out with this guide, and his guide's name, my dad is gone now, but to his dying day, we talk about this. This guide's name was Arnie. He was a Native American guide. He would take us out, and we just caught northern pike and walleyes like crazy. I'll never forget, Arnie had a little old beat up truck. The door wouldn't shut. I was on the far end of the front seat, and every time we'd go around a corner, my dad would have to hold on to me because the door would go flying out, and I would almost go flying out with it. So we finally got to this beautiful lake, one of the portage lakes, but he could drive us to it in this little Jeep. And my goodness, we caught fish like crazy. I'll never forget the time I caught my first really big pike. We were out there, and I said, "Dad, I'm hung up." And I tried to hand it to my guide, to Arnie, and he said, "Son, snags don't swim." This line was just slowly going through the water, and I pulled back on it. He said, "You better set the hook on this fish. This is a good one." Set the hook, and it came flying out of the water, and boy, I caught my first big northern. I was hooked on fishing after that moment. I mean, it was just such a fun moment. My dad and I, from that point on, we'd go to Canada every year. Mom and Dad bought a cottage up in Wisconsin, and we had a blast. To this day, I'm a fisherman.